Hey guys, what's going on? Coach Chris hanging out with Alain, and we're gonna show you effectively how to turn off a couple of key muscles when training your medial delt, right? Or the top of the shoulder, okay? Because you have three parts, right? You have anterior, medial, and posterior. But what happens is certain muscles end up taking over when you're really just trying to target one muscle. So Alain's going to show you, and he's going to use me as the dummy, how to turn off the anterior delt and the traps when doing a side raise. Take it away, my friend.
Okay. So the first thing I want to say is that the typical lateral raise is completely fine. This is just a way to better isolate the muscle that you're trying to hit with the lateral raise.
Absolutely.
All right, so the first thing that happens a lot is that we keep our shoulders either elevated or in a neutral position, which again is fine. However, what's happening here when he does the lift is he's engaging a lot of trap. If I touch right here, that trap is solid. So that means that if he's lifting 30, the mid delt is lifting some of it, but the trap, a bigger, stronger muscle, is also helping with the lift, right? So the first thing that you can do is depress the scapula, and now when you pull through the elbow, what's happening is right there, that's all mid delt, very little traps. All right, it's gonna be.
I mean, you're never gonna fully remove the trap from it because it's not the way it works. But you feel an instant shift in where the load is when you depress.
Yeah. So that's one way to eliminate the traps from doing the majority of the work. Also, when you do it this way, what's going to happen is you're going to have to decrease the weight you're using. But the weight that you're going to be using is going to mainly be pulled by the mid delt.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like you could do side raises with 30s. But when you're heaving it up, probably not under great control, using a lot of trap, and then also using a lot of another muscle group, which we're going to start talking about right now.
Right, and that is the front delt. You see, the mid delt is responsible for abduction of the shoulder, right? But the front delt is responsible for flexion of the shoulder. So anytime we raise, what's happening here is because his arm is in front of his body, there's going to be a lot of tension on the front delt. Again, this is completely fine. However, there's ways to better isolate the mid delt. Two things you can do. Number one, you can put this down. Number one is you want to make sure that your arm is right at your side, not in front of your body, but right at your side. That's number one. And number two is, and this is a mistake a lot of people make, is that when they do the raise, they tend to point their thumb upward. And again, if you touch your shoulder, you're going to notice that there is a lot of tension on the front delt. Some tension on the mid delt, but also a lot on the front delt. What you want to do is not only have it directly across from you, but make sure that your palm is facing down, or maybe even have your pinky facing, maybe a 35-degree angle roughly. And what that's going to happen, what's going to happen when you do that is you are going to, again, disengage the front delt and focus mainly on the middle delt, which is the focal point of this exercise.
Why don't I do like 3 reps, just depressing and kind of turning that knuckle more up.
Yeah, so you see what's happening here is he's still pulling with his traps, because when he depresses and he gets past a certain point, he wants to get it higher. You don't have to get it that high. That's another thing.
That's another thing. People are coming way
too high. Right, so if you just bring it not even to parallel, because you're only targeting the mid delt, you again will still disengage the trap and still hit the mid delt.
Yeah, it's a great point. And it's a tendency for a lot of guys. They don't, it's like they feel like maybe like they they've performed the exercise better because
Right.
they've gone higher,
Right, exactly.
or something. But a lot of times, really not the case, because you're
Not the
not.
case.
You're just involving other muscle groups that you're really not trying to target. Again, this is an isolation exercise.
Right.
This is not a power movement by any means.
Right.
You know, so even your big, strong guys might be doing this exercise with 10, 15, 20-pound dumbbells.
Right. And another thing that people need to realize is how powerful the front delt is, because the front delt is actually being hit every time you're bench pressing heavy, every time you're doing heavy overhead press,
Dips,
any kind of pushing movement,
yeah.
you're really hitting the front delt. So for the front delt to help out with a small movement is really taking a lot away from the target muscle.
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. So 2 really quick tips. Turning off the anterior delt, turning off the traps as much as you can,
Right.
to really target the mid delt or medial delt when doing a side race. That's
Right.
awesome. Very helpful. Thanks, Alain. Appreciate
problem.
it, man. So use those pointers the next time you go to work your shoulders out. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Check the description below.